So Patrick Beverley's podcast has been running. Patrick Beverley's podcast has not been featuring Patrick Beverley. I don't know if people have been seeing that. And I think that this is impacting Chicago sports as a whole. Ain't that right, Dre?
Relax.
No?
Relax.
No.
So essentially the story goes that, Patrick Beverley had his incident where he put his hands on somebody, his sister. That was the situation at hand. And, got jammed up for it, got arrested for it, had some litigation and all that stuff like that about it. And from that, he had to take a break from the Hoopin' and Hollerin' podcast. This was said by Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. And I'll get into that in a second because apparently Hoopin' and Hollerin' is a production of Barstool.
Yeah, no, obviously horrific police report. No matter how bad, whatever it is, I saw Roan's speech on it. I thought it was good. Like, that's his life, and he's got to figure all this out. It's horrible. He is taking forced time away from Barstool, and we'll see if this turns out somehow not true. Like, we'll let the facts play out. Certainly with what is hanging there, we can't have him be part of what we're doing right now, and we got to see how it settles. But this is horrible, how it read, and if there's any truth to it, he won't be back at Barstool.
So you wait till like the trial almost?
Yes, yes. Like, there's no reason on my end to move unusually quick here.
No.
It's like a very serious issue. So before the police report came out, we still were going to do the pod, still do it. We had his version of events. Police report comes out, brutal. Call him, hey, just saw this police report. We can't be working with you right now. Figure out your life, figure out whatever's going on in here, and we will regroup when there's a resolution on whatever the fuck this is.
Now, why this is important is because I think this is a conversation about independent media and stuff like that. Pat Bev had a show. Pat Bev had the Pat Bev podcast, right? Y'all remember when it was just a Pat Bev podcast? I think everybody remembers that.
Mm-hmm.
Sponsored by McDonald's.
Then, I guess to have somebody to kind of riff off of, Pat Bev introduces Rome, who is a battle rapper. I don't know. Does anybody know the relationship of Pat Bev and Rome, or was this kind of like, fuck it, we'll just sandwich this guy with our guy, and then we'll try to make some magic? Or did they have a private?
I thought they was friends for real.
I thought it was another case of podcast business relationship. Podcast business relationship. That's what I thought it was another case of.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. I thought it was we may know of each other, but we're definitely going to kind of manufacture something here, if that makes sense. They don't know each other enough to actually make shit work. But so it did work. They were doing at least decent numbers, right? They weren't doing bad at all with their podcast, with their platform. And then Barstool had a product that they tried to make work with a couple of different NBA guys, and it never really worked. It just never really stuck. Nothing happened. But so Barstool comes to Pat Bev comes to Barstool, however that happens, and they come together and make the Hoopin' and Hollerin' podcast. Have y'all seen this podcast? They transform.
I have not.
You've never seen? Let me see.
Who's your least favorite ref of all time?
This is just the Pat Bev channel, right? Rebranding.
It's the Pat Bev podcast channel, repackaged, repurposed, and now it's called Hoopin' and Hollerin'. Pat Bev, Rome, Jason Williams, and they're just talking about stuff. I don't know who that guy was. Never seen that guy in my life. Y'all never seen this?
I've seen it.
I've seen clips of it, yes.
Okay. Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. 112K, 50K, 19K, 120K. Like they're getting good shit on the long form for sure. Pretty decent stuff. I think that this was a upgrade. Cool. Pat Bev goes out for his situation. They keep the show going. These are some episodes where it's just Rome and Jason Williams. But they're waiting for the day in which Pat Bev and the conversation concludes on what happens. Everything seems copacetic, right? We on the same accord?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you that after the situation happens, Pat Bev gets the okay to come back from Dave, but Rome and Jason Williams say, yeah, we kind of don't want you. We kind of don't want you.
I was confused by one of the tweets Pat Bev said, because I think it alluded that he was back on Barstool. But I thought it was just originally I thought it was just a pure, Barstool don't fuck with him at all. Like, they're not bringing him back at all in any capacity, whether that's restarting a new show or going back to the old one. But, yeah.
I had to go to Flacco's channel to get the clip because God, nobody wants to sit through Patrick Beverly talk. I think this is it.
That I'm not on, I'm currently not on hooping and hollering right now. It came as a surprise a little bit, right? Actually shocked a little bit due to the fact that this show was the Pat Bev pod with Ron less than 6 months ago. So I get a call, right, through this whole process, right, this whole case process, right? I haven't been able to like really post anything with Barstool, just until everything was over with. Dave has done a phenomenal job being communication-wise.
Spit it out.
Right. Allow me to still be with Barstool, but, basically until I get my shit in order, you feel me? Like, come back when you're not hot type of vibes. And I understood it. So now that, everything has been, the truth came out and everything is over with, I'll call Dave, like, okay, cool. It's time to get back on the pod. Like, what's up? You feel me? And Dave say, have you talked to the guys? And I'm like, okay. I don't know why I got to talk to them, but all right.
Okay, that's the first portion. Let me skip up because this way that he tells this story, boy, I'm trying to tell you. Walt Whitman.
And I don't want to harp too much on this, but through this whole time, like, I ain't heard a word from Ron. Right? Not one word. Not, is you okay? Is family okay? Is mom okay? Is sister okay? Not a word. Right? And I'm an emotional type of dude, so y'all let me know if I'm in my feelings or not. I hit the group like, yo, I'm back, boys. I'm ready to work. You feel me? Like, man, stuff is past, man. Y'all been holding down. I'm ready to get back to work. Ron reached out to me, man. I know you glad this is over, this. I'm like, all right, it's okay. When do we start? And then they go quiet. And I'm like, they like, have you talked to anybody? I'm like, talk to anybody? Like, I talked to Dave. Dave say, have I talked to y'all? I talked to y'all. Y'all tell me, have I talked to somebody else? So me and Dave get on the phone. And Dave, shout out to Dave too, man. Solid dude since day one. Like from him finding me into where I am right now, media-wise, he's been phenomenal, right?
Salute.
I talked to Dave, and Dave hit me like, yeah, the guys wanted me to reach out and tell you that, they want to keep going how the party is now. You've been gone for 3 months, and they want to, just keep that going right now. And I'm like, what guys? Like, what guys are you talking about? Like, he's like, the guys from the pod. And I'm like, why are you telling me this? Like, why hasn't, you feel me? I'm talking about producers. Like, I'm talking about I got people who produce the show currently. I had them sleeping on my on my couch in my house, bought them beds, have my chef cook them meals. Like,
This Patrick
Yeah, he didn't have to say all that, but
Bev story, bro.
he didn't have to say all that. So what are y'all doing in this situation?
Them boys got free rent off of your ass for a couple months. It's tough. No, I mean, that's what I heard. Got an Airbnb for a couple months at the Beverly household.
How do you let yourself, how does something like that even happen to you?
No ownership, man. The shit that all of them are falling for. All these former NBA player, all these athletes in general, they're just signing these deals for podcasts. They don't own anything. I would think the Pat Bev show why does the fuck is Jason Williams talking about me coming back to my show? What? Can you imagine? I start the Damo podcast, some years go by, and fucking Sprite signs the pod. Some shit goes down. I try to come back 2 months later, and fucking Wordu tells me, nah, bro, I don't want you to come back. What the fuck? What? The fuck is you Wordu? Let me stop. Jason Williams has no business. That shit blew me. Jason Williams doesn't want to. Rome, bitch ass nigga for what he did. But regardless of that, just the concept of, I mean, I guess they just work friends. A lot of people don't know it's a work relationship doing this podcast and shit.
That
Patrick
don't
Beverly,
matter though. Not to cut you off, but because I get the concept. Work friends, you don't call me when I go to jail. I get that. Is it still a little crazy, even as just work friends? Cool. Me coming back to my podcast and y'all saying y'all don't want me on my podcast, when, for what it's worth, to be honest with you, I think that Patrick Beverly has done some stuff. Rome is like the most replaceable person. Jason Williams has had some clips, do some numbers. He said some pretty trendy things or whatever, and he's still ex-NBA player. The setup man could never tell me.
Would y'all stances change if the name of the podcast specifically wasn't the Pat Bev Pod? Like kind of similar to our setup. Like, let's keep it a buck.
No, because I started it. Now, granted, I would need to know how the deal is structured, because now I'm curious, and this is just stuff that I know about other NBA players who have signed away their podcast. What if he can't get the name Patrick Beverly Podcast back?
Yeah.
That factors into it, because technically it is hooping and hollering. You would think, all right, cool, I'm going to take my lumps. I'm going to be pissed off for a little while. I'll just go start another Patrick Beverly podcast. But what if he can't start another Patrick Beverly podcast, Patrick Beverly show, Pat Bev talks, anything in that like vein of stuff because of the deal he signed?
he probably can't. That's probably why he's back on the Hoop and Hollering podcast. Like, he probably can't use that name or has a domain for that name. Which is crazy, because I thought the whole time he owned his pod. Did he even say something about having ownership in one of the beefs that he had when he was beefing with other pods or some shit? I don't know. He was going back for Sean McCants. Maybe I'm misremembering, but yeah, now he can't use his own name. It's insane.
He might have flexed it at one point, because he definitely did have it at one point. But to me, it's amazing. And for what it's worth, I will say Patrick Beverly's pod wasn't popping, right? And like, no disrespect, but just relative to what we think popping is. Before Gil signed his deal with Underdog, his podcast was popping. He was pulling a lot of views and stuff like that. Or he could be somebody who pulled a lot of views. But at the end of the day, this is like the exact reason why. Because there could be one day where you make a certain combination and it does pop off, and you should have more leverage. I think that he sold the bag way too early, or went for the bag way too early, shelled out for the bag way too early, in order to get some sort of deal going, without having that leverage and fan base and all that other stuff like that, to truly support him. And now this thing is successful, and he dead ass can't. I don't think he can pivot for real, for real.
The only thing he can find another co-host and just he would need to start from, I wouldn't say ground zero, but I mean it's gonna be a different name, but I think he can rebuild. I think he can rebuild.
I think it's easy to say, can I rebuild if you have a fan base? I just don't really remember them having and I'm talking about when it was just the Pat Bev podcast or whatever the case may be. I don't really remember them having much motion. I really, really, really don't remember them having too much crazy motion. But ultimately, it's going to be harder. And now, though, like, in my opinion, the word is out on podcasting. The word is out, right? The money is not what it used to be. The opportunities are not what it used to be. These podcasts are being packaged up in these random ass deals because people are asking for the world. That shit that's going on with Breakfast Club is also very, very disgusting. And now he's just gonna have a harder time, especially if you be those people that have tasted this side of things and are trying to chase that.
Yeah,
I don't know if he can go back to being that. All right, I'm hungry and I'm trying to build something from the ground up, like a whole different YouTube channel, a whole different audience type situation.
I will say I don't know if he has the skills to. Like at this point, if you are independent, that's the problem with going independent from this standpoint. Like, do you know how to hire a good editor, how to hire a good graphic designer, title thumbnail dude? That's why I tell people, like, do not try to hire people too early, because you need to know what you're hiring for, what a good or bad employee, what good or bad work looks like before you even hire someone. And that's the problem with a lot of these athletes is they just hire off rip and they can't go independent. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, from what I've seen, whenever he drops videos, they're pretty high quality. So I do think he has a good editor on hand. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be packaged right. The production of the show is going to be good. All of those little things.
Thumbnails are bad, but go ahead.
Yeah.
He got the docu-series about his situation, like a Tubi style documentary, documentary. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna do just fine in terms of production for whatever he tries to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, but well, I'll say this. I hear what you're saying. From a visual perspective, it might look good if we're looking at it from the lens of a movie. That does not mean he knows anything about YouTube.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, that does not mean he knows anything about titling, packaging, thumbnail, pacing for YouTube, editing for YouTube, all these other things. And for what it's worth, I remember what you were talking about. My response to the arrest is what it's called on his channel. I remember watching that, and it seemed like he has hired somebody to do some camera work. He's done the same thing, and only because I'm starting to get more adjacent to these people. He's done the same exact thing that these other ex-athletes or guys with a lot of money or people with a lot of money have done. Is I've got a lot of money. Now I think that I'm the show. I think that I'm the star. I think that I'm this, that, and the third. And I want to put my life, because it's a movie, on the internet. And granted, all of this looks clean from a Tubi perspective and all this. None of this is optimized for YouTube. Totally different situation, totally different setup. And you don't even worry about your titles and thumbnails and all this other stuff like that. And so for what I don't know if it's gonna work. But I do think that podcast that he had was at least decent enough to where I could have seen in the long run him building people, building with other people. It could have worked. I just think signing that over is crazy. Signing that over is crazy. And to the point where they have the nerve to be able, or even the ability to. Why do they have the ability to say that he can come back? I don't get that. Am I missing something there?
That he can't come back?
Yeah. Why can Rome and why can Jason Williams say that I can come back?
Because you don't own the show.
Yeah.
They negotiated better. They had better lawyers. They had better negotiating skills. Their negotiating was not a C like yours. Theirs was a A plus. So they had a bigger piece of the pie than you thought of your show. They had a bigger piece of the Pat Bev podcast that you knew.
I think this definitely would have been different if they didn't start bringing on Jason Williams before the Pat Bev scandal came about, because that gave them time to rebrand and also develop some sort of chemistry between Rome and Jason Williams. And the basis of the show was ultimately a 2-man podcast, so there was a basis to just say, hey, we don't have Pat Bev anymore, but we do have Jason Williams, and we like how this is working. The numbers are looking good, so let me just keep moving forward. That's a part of the problem. But
Especially it being on the Pat Bev podcast, as they said, we don't got Pat Bev, but hey, Pat Bev, Jason Williams.
Jason Williams
Pat
definitely
Bev
got
is
some clips.
That shit's.
He got
that's
some
pretty
clips.
He already got some crazy
He
clips
does.
already.
Hey, listen. I am not knocking Jason Williams' ability to get clips, him being a content creator, any of that. I am simply saying it is hilarious that on the Pat Bev podcast, they said, hey, we don't got this, but we do got that. Let's rock. And it worked. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Never sell y'all. I wonder what the bag would have to be for me to do something like that for my channel. I don't know.
I think these NBA player podcasts, they really need to be aware of, are they actually building community, or are they just building viewership based off of their name? Because shout out to them, because they've been truly consistent. To the Baja guys, like they've been truly consistent. But the uptick that they got from the Rashad McCants beef, I highly doubt those are like, oh, we fuck with the to the Baja podcast now, we're gonna be regulars. No, they are there for the spectacle of the moment. So you are gonna get that 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 live viewership that stream, because there's current drama going on. But are you actually building like a fan base through this? I don't know, because their clips do look scary when beef isn't involved. They don't have like a crazy story from a guest that they have on. When it's just them, they have improved. I think they're averaging like 500, 600 viewers now, which is really good for them. But yeah, just being cautious of like, are you actually building community or not?
And I gotta say, there's a couple NBA guys that got it. Jared McCain, he has a good YouTube channel, like a really good YouTube channel. I wanna look at his YouTube channel. Okay, here it is. Maybe it's because I think he kind of gets it though, so he just doesn't post consistently. This is the Jared McCain YouTube channel, 349K. I went to LA for All-Star Weekend. Look at that thumbnail. Look at that title. Just off rip, like this is already very YouTube-y. He's even playing some games on there. I would say that he's got it. Surprisingly, Nikhil Alexander Walker. How do you spell his name? Is it Nickel?
I always call him Nickel.
There it is.
I don't know.
Funny
His
story.
YouTube channel.
Almost worked for Jerry McCain on that channel.
Yeah, you missed out, buddy.
Yeah.
His YouTube channel, he's taking the cinematic route, but it's ultimately panned out. This is pretty decent. Who Matisse Thybulle used to have a good one, but I don't know. Matisse Thybulle? I think yeah. He had a good one, but I know I haven't checked it out in a minute.
JaVale McGee also used to have a good one. Chauncey Billups.
Oh, JaVale McGee used to have a good one. But if these are the numbers.
But
No,
this was during COVID.
Yeah, his shit blew up crazy during COVID.
Yeah.
And then also, of course, gotta shout out my guy. I think Gil's second channel proves that he's built some actual community, and it's not just based on I got some beef going on or whatever the case may be. Yeah, JaVale McGee's is okay. I don't know. That's tough. You don't have to sell your ass, guys. You really don't. You really, really, really don't.
We saw Pat Bev's motion on playback, man. Tough.
No. Nasty.
Non-existent.
Oh my god.
Tough.
That's my guy, man. I'll go help him out.